I'm so happy I'm less high than the last time we started.
No, that's good.
All right.
Welcome to the Patriotic Podcast.
What's up, dude?
Another day, man.
I still don't love that intro music. I mean, I like it.
Makes me play the air guitar every time, bro.
Yeah, I do play the air guitar when I hear it too, but I don't know. Part of me just wants to. I mean, like every time I'm with you, we either are listening to grunge music or hip hop.
Yeah.
And that's neither of those.
Well, either way, the rule is if you get in my car, you are automatically backup singer. So don't even try to fucking sing lead in my car. Like I'm playing. You can play,
I'm in someone's
you can play
car.
the
I'm
drums.
even when I'm playing air guitar in someone else's car, I'm playing rhythm.
Bass.
Gotta give the driver the lead. So what's new, man?
Well, I just got back from Miami.
Yeah.
So
Tell me about that.
I'm depressed because it's 85 degrees there, and it was like fucking 45 when I got home. It was actually less than that because I got home like late at night. It was cold as shit, and I switched. I'm not dumb. I put sweats in my carry-on.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's cold out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
I hate that especially when you're flying to somewhere like Miami and you go, because airplanes are cold and it sucks being cold and because first of all, like the circulated air, you're sitting for hours on end. It's just fucking gross anyway. Yeah. You already get a little swampy on airplanes.
I wore shorts there though because I knew it was gonna be hot.
Yeah, you knew it was gonna be hot. So like, I sweat more when I'm cold because like my whole body's tense, and so I always bundle up on airplanes. Yep. But like when you land somewhere like Atlanta when we did, and I was wearing pants and everybody's looking at me like I was a lunatic. Yeah. Closing the carry-on's a move.
Yeah. So, well, you asked what's new. We got a lot of stuff actually coming up. Like, I'm super pumped. Warfighter Overwatch has a poker tournament coming up.
Yeah,
and that is April 28th. Super excited for that. Like
58 days away.
I love poker.
Yeah,
I love poker.
Yeah, dude. So I'm glad that we're doing this because I've talked with Garrett a little bit from Flip. Shout out Garrett. Disclaimer. I love the Folsom Chamber. Don't get me wrong. But you know how there's like good old boy clubs out there?
Yeah.
This is kind of the opposite. Where like it's like very heavily dominated by women and they want to grow membership, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of our stuff is like a little too cute. You know what I mean? Like all of our event names are alliterations and it drives me nuts. It's like happy hour hangout, flip your Friday. And it's like, it's so, you know what I mean? Like, so if you're a good example,
when you say it like that,
like a tattoo shop owner, you're like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to go to happy hour hangout or leaders who lunch. It's like, you know what I mean? So like,
you guys do it on Friday though, and I golf, and I'm like, because there's like several times I wanted to come down there and hang out with you for some of those things, and I'm like, I just won't make it in time. I'll make it like right at the end or when it's over, and I'm like, forget it.
Well, so like, I kind of look at it as like a boyfriend moving into his girlfriend's house, and he brings a bunch of his shit with him. Like he wants his Jalen Hurt fathead on the fucking wall.
My fucking Raider shower curtain is going up.
Yeah. So it's like that. So it's like, that's the battle. I'm
no,
kind of
that
like a few of us on and Flip specifically are kind of battling right now is like, we want to make this more attractive for a wider range of people. And it's like it's pretty bougie right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that because we attract a really good crowd of people too. Like, but you know, the wider cast you net, the more weirdos you're going to get, but
good luck, bro. Cause I don't have my fucking Raider shower curtain up, bro. I'm just saying. Fawn controls 100% of the sex in our relationship. So I do what she says, but
exactly.
But the tale of a good leader is that they listen to the people that, they work with.
Yeah. Well, I would say that like I don't want to turn this into like a chamber bashing thing because that's not what it is. But like my second biggest, I guess, gripe about being involved with the chamber and working for volunteering for them and stuff is that they play it really, really safe.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things like one of our biggest events in Flip is the nonprofit showcase where I met you guys.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it brings in a good amount of money. I mean, like it's not money and donations aren't the primary focus, which if you're gonna get a bunch of nonprofits in a room, like I guess that's okay. It's more about supporting the community and the people that are doing good in our community.
Yeah.
But like the first time I heard about the numbers from the nonprofit showcase, I was like, we could 10x this in one night, right?
Right.
And so my first thing was like, we should do a poker tournament. And Garrett and I had talked about this for like a year, and we really want to do it. I was like, dude, I bet you we can make that a $75,000 night the first year.
Yeah.
If we like push the hell out of it and make that our second like annual big event. And the chamber was just like, no, way too much liability. And I was like, cool, I'm going to go do this with another organization then.
So we had like when the tattoo shop was over in Rockland initially, because I bought it from DK. Shout out DK. So Dave King, when I bought it from DK, he had punched a hole through the wall. Like not like punch a hole, like they cut a hole through the wall and eventually made a door. Wasn't initially, and he started renting the back space. In fact, there was a space in the middle and then a further space, another suite, and we used that area for initially. We played poker. We had poker nights in there, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, I won twice, which I'm sure pissed. I love poker, but we were talking about this. So like back in the beginning of like the poker craze, when they had Poker Stars and all these things where you could go online and gamble, like legit gamble your whole life savings away playing fucking online poker.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where you were at and what state you were in, you could play the online poker and gamble. And obviously with that comes some risk because youth may have access to the
I was going
internet.
to say, like, shout out Justin Britt, dude. Me and him were playing online poker at 13 years old.
Yeah, man.
For real money.
Yeah, for real money, right?
Yeah.
And so then like parents find out, they're like, nah, give me all my money back. And they're like, what? No. It was a big issue. But at the time, I mean, this shit was on ESPN, bro. Now we got cornhole. But, at the time, Texas Hold'em was a big deal. So like I was in the Army. I bought a poker table, chips. The guys would come over. We'd play poker, get drunk. I'd take their money. It was awesome. Like, I'm sure there was a time or two when I didn't win, but I feel like I've been lucky and won a bunch. I definitely like cards and gambling in general. So I stay away from the casino because we have some here.
Yeah.
And like my kids haven't gone to college yet. So I gotta hold, I gotta pump the brakes. You know what I mean? But I've always, dude, when I was in Korea, we got on a train. We drank too much, drank on the train. My buddy told us about this place that we could go. It was actually a Katusa. It was a Korean augmentation, United States Army. So these guys are Korean soldiers. They usually come from well-off families and they speak English, a lot of them. So they put them with the U.S. Army and they sleep in nice beds compared to what the Republic of Korea, the ROK Army, sleeps on, which is like, we treat our criminals better here in jail.
Yeah.
So anyways, those dudes are hard as shit though. So he told us about this place because he knew I like gambling. I was going to this guy's barracks. They had like a little underground card room and shit in there, dice and all that. So then we went to like a legit gambling place in Korea. Bro, we don't speak Korean. Like we have no idea, but it didn't take very long for us to get in the mix and start gambling. Yeah. And like, all right, now I'm drunk. I'm on the train with some lady with a whole bag of fish heads. And I'm just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Only gonna live this life once.
Gambling, I have a lot of fun playing at Thunder Valley because I went to a lot of casinos as a kid because my grandparents like to gamble, but I never really watched them or anything. And so what I like about Thunder Valley is that on slower nights or whatever, you find a good dealer and he'll teach you the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have a lot of fun playing blackjack in casinos. I actually don't play poker a lot in casinos. I
mostly play blackjack.
Yeah, I'm usually playing poker. So my dad inherited his grandfather's poker table. World War I vet.
Shit.
I'm pretty sure he handmade it. It's legit. And it's like a octagon table, so you can sit 8 at it.
Awesome.
It's badass, dude. And when I was coming up, when like you said during the Texas Hold'em craze, my dad, his best bud that ran Folsom Little League with him, Daryl, his son Justin, who I ended up gambling, like So, quick side note.
Yeah.
I got my first debit card at 13 because I needed one
for online
poker. Because before that, I was getting like, like 20 or however many dollars a week in like allowance or whatever. And I just had cash. I was buying like fucking Pokemon cards and shit. And
it's the American way, bro.
Yeah. And so
fuck censorship.
I went to like Wells Fargo or something and opened up a debit account so that I could gamble online. But anyhow, we used to do poker nights. Like sometimes we would play every Friday in a month.
Yeah.
But usually it was like every other Friday or once a month or something like that. And it would just be our two dads and then his two sons and myself and like maybe one of his buddies or something. And I'll never forget my favorite poker story is Daryl, my buddy's dad. I was having the worst night ever. Like I was just getting smoked and I was getting dealt really bad hands. So like I was just straight up folding. If I wasn't like one of the blinds, dude, I was like, I'm out. And as you know, like a 7 and a 2 or an 8 and a 3 are like the two worst hands in Texas Hold'em. And especially, not suited. And so Daryl looks at me like my dad had just dealt. And he was like, I was looking at my cards. He's like, man, quit playing. You know, you got a 7-2. And I had a 7-2. And I was like, you're fucking cheating, dude. And I folded. And I was pissed. And I'm like looking around behind me to see like if there's like a reflection or something, dude. Like there was nothing. There was just no way that. And so anyway, I storm off because again, I'm like an angsty teen. And I come back to the table and my dad, Dave, is like, all right, you gonna sack up, dude? Like, don't get all pissed off at the fucking poker table because you can't win a hand. And I was just like, yeah, fuck, do me the cards. He deals me an 8-3. And I was like, God damn it, dude. So I pick up my cards and I'm not even kidding you. Daryl, without even looking at me, he's like, how's that 8-3 treating me? And I flipped my cards over because the first time I didn't.
Yeah.
I put them face down.
Yeah.
The second time I showed him and I was like, and the look on Daryl's face, I knew immediately that it was just a freak guess. Cause like, he was like, no, Ryan. He's like, I'm not cheating, dude. He's like, I can't believe that just happened. I was so pissed off. But man, those are some good times, dude. We'd play till like midnight. And that's probably why on a Friday night, I wasn't out being a dickhead on the town because we had parents that were around that like, engaged with us and stuff like that. So yeah, those were some really good times, man.
I still love playing poker. Mostly like with my buddies and stuff like that. I haven't, the last time I played, I think was at the shop when we had the other place, and we've been here for a year, and it's definitely been that long. And I'm ready. So I'm ready for this April 28th tournament. It's gonna be awesome. Go to warfighter.overwatch.org and you'll be able to find all the info. And the seats are going to go quick,
and too. we have limited seats. I think that we have enough seats in our venue this year. I believe it's 120.
120 max.
So buy-in is super reasonable. We haven't quite settled on what exactly that's going to look like, but it's looking like it's going to be somewhere around the $100 range. There will be a prize for everybody who makes a final table.
Yep.
So obviously proceeds are coming to Warfighter Overwatch, but we will have some really cool stuff for you guys. It's going to be a fun night. We're going to have food and drinks, and it's going to be a really good time. So I'm looking forward to that. That's less than 2 months away.
Yeah. Try to get a cigar bar there. We're going to see what happens. Yeah. I know this guy, so we're going to see, which reminds me. So when I was in Miami and, we go down to Little Havana and they're down there rolling the cigars and went to Domino Park. I don't know if you know what this is. But it's like the OGs are down there just, and there's so many of them are Cuban. So if you don't speak Spanish, you might be in trouble. But if you can count by fives and pay attention, you can play some bones. And I'm a bit, so it was actually funny because like a couple of days ago, I think when we were down there, one of my memories was from me teaching the kids dominoes, which you were just talking about engaging with the kids. So I'm playing bones. I'm like, listen, man, I grew up in the hood. So we play bones. We play outside in the garage or on the driveway or whatever. We'd sit there and play, have a table out there. And I'm teaching my kids, and I got a picture of my daughter, and she is just fuming, glaring at me. And I'm like, you mad, bro? 10.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, come on. And, she got all mad at me. And so I had to slow down, teach her the game a little better. She wasn't super enthusiastic about it, but I gotta tell you, like, for me, that was always like, that was good motivation. Getting my ass kicked always made me like, bitch, I grew up on Rocky. You can knock me down, but I'm just going to keep getting back up.
Yeah.
It's like golf. I'm going to keep swinging. Right. So, going down there to Miami was super cool. Seeing these people still doing this stuff. And, it's definitely a community thing. And, lots of folks go down there to the park and go play and go smoke cigars. And
I'm glad you guys have fun, man. It looked like an awesome trip. Admittedly, I wish you guys were here because I had a whole bunch of family in town and fuck, I want you to meet them.
Yeah.
Speaking of bones, like my uncle Alonzo was here. He was like born and raised, I believe, in Memphis, moved out here, met my aunt. But like he's a Southern boy, dude. And and he taught me how to play bones when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget sitting in his house one time. And like he would smoke us because we just couldn't count.
Yeah.
Like we were young. We couldn't figure out the scoring and stuff.
He knows how many, there's 7 dominoes,
Yeah,
7 floors. Yeah.
And so yeah, exactly. So I finally figured out the scoring.
7.
And we had played like 100 games that night, right? Just sitting around the kitchen table, but I finally beat him. And I had been at his house for 2-3 hours at this point, wearing a hat the whole time.
Yeah.
And he looks at me, and we're sitting at the table. And he's like, "Is your head cold, boy?" And I was like, "What?" He smacks my hat off my head. He goes, "Take your hat off in my house." And I was like, I'd been there for 3 hours, but he was pissed that I beat him. So he was like, "Yeah, you better take that fucking hat off."
Yeah.
So like
disrespectful.
Yeah, he put me back in my place real quick.
Yep.
Good times though, dude. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the tournament, man. It's gonna be a good one. Then, looking at our event calendar this year, we got a lot of events and like pretty rapid.
Yeah. So then we got the golf tournament, which will be June 19th, and then pretty sure that's right. And then let's see. Well, we have the gala. I got a list, but
hold on, dude. Where's the TV remote? I just thought of a poker video that I have to show you.
All right.
It's of me. Yeah. So I'm assuming your favorite poker game is Texas Hold'em, or do you?
It is.
Do you ever play any other games?
Well, yeah, man. Like I've played pretty much everything, man. 5-card draw. I played, pie gal poker, like that kind of stuff.
So my favorite game,
7-card stud.
It was introduced to me by my buddy Jacob. We've played golf. Big tall dude with the beard.
Yep.
He introduced me to a game called 357. Have you ever played 357?
That sounds really familiar.
So it's a 3-card. It's a 3-card hand at first, and then everybody has a chip on their lap, and if you want to play the hand, so everybody antes up at the beginning, you get dealt a 3-card hand.
Right.
If you believe you have the strongest 3-card hand, everybody at the table holds a chip in their hand, and those or not, but it's 1, 2, 3, and then whoever wants to play the hand drops the chip.
Okay.
That's now the pot, except for the drop chip. You do keep that, but you then play out that 3-card hand. If you win the hand outright, you get a chip.
Okay.
Then you deal out 2 more cards. Now, the strategy here is that if you just showed your 3-card hand, people know that if you had 3 of a kind on a 3-card hand, then there's a chance that maybe on the next one you have full house, right?
Yeah.
So then the rules change from 3-card to 5-card, which actually changes the ranks of the hands. I didn't know this because a 3 of a kind is like the best you can get, or a straight flush.
Yeah.
Those are pretty high hands, whereas a 3 of a kind drops way lower on the totem pole once you get to the 7-card round.
Right.
But basically, every round you drop a chip, and someone has to win 3 chips to end the hand. So if you're playing dealer's choice and the dealer chooses 357, you might be dealing for an hour.
Yeah.
That's how long it takes, but it's incredibly fun. I have this video though. I don't know. It's on Instagram. I just looked for it and I couldn't I couldn't find it in my photo library, but it is on my Instagram. But if I can't get it up on the screen, I'll overlay it
Import it,
because
yeah.
it's absurd. It's
And this is
absurd.
you
This fucking
playing?
hand, yeah, yeah. I go absolutely batshit when I win this.
See, like I've had some, so like I've had some lucky times at the casino. Like, so I would come home on like Hurricane Danny, bro. I would come home on leave. I'd spend a week or two home, like partying, going from here to there. I'd never stay in one place for more than a night and just wreck shop and then leave. Like I was never here and let them deal with the aftermath. But so I come, my buddy Ryan, we went to, because he at the time he was out in Valley Springs, so we went to Jackson Rancheria to the casino out there.
Mhm.
We both won like I don't remember like $500 or $600 each. So then we're like, he said, "You want to go to Tahoe?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it." So we literally got in the car and drove straight to Tahoe from Jackson. So we go up to Tahoe, go rent a suite at the Mont Bleu or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Go in there, and it was because it was like Thursday night. The next night, the price was gonna like double or triple or whatever. So we go in there and get a room. And that first night we go up there, and like we both won like $100 or $200, like not a ton, but we were still okay. At the end of the night, we both went and played like the, what's it called, like the high roller room or whatever. So we go in there and placed one bet, and it was like $50 minimum or whatever it was. It was like one $50 bet for each of us. We both lost, and then we left. Went to we went, got some food. We're all drunk. Went and drank a little more in the room, and then passed out. So the next day, like we start going kind of hard again, and we moved hotels, and we both ended up winning like, I think I won like $1,200 and he won like $800 or $900 playing blackjack again. And when we were leaving, the minimum bet was $100 in the high roller room.
Mhm.
I won the first one, let it ride, won again. I was like, all right, I'm done. Peace.
That's the best way to do it, dude. I went out to Thunder Valley one time for a mortgage event, and my boss Chorito, shout out Chorito, she's probably one of the best bosses I've ever had. She had to like go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and I was just watching her play, and she was like, "Play this hand," and I was like, "That's not that never ends well."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was like, because we need to hash out what happens if I win or lose right now before
Yeah.
you go to the bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
I am not liable. Do I get any winnings? And she's like,
Right.
I'll let you fucking, don't worry about losing. She's like, I only have $100 of chips on the table and keep what you make. I was like, all right. So I sat down for one hand. I put a $5 chip on the blackjack bet,
Yeah.
like side bet,
Yeah.
and I hit a blackjack immediately
Hell yeah.
and won like $300. And she kept her word, dude. She let me keep every dime of it.
So when Thunder Valley first opened, I came home on leave. My cousin and my brother were like, "Let's go over to the casino," and I didn't really want to, but I remember that it cost me a shit ton of money in gas to drive here from Texas.
Mhm.
So I was like, my rent's due when I get back. Like I got all this shit. Like I'm a poor soldier, so fucking, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go over there. I'm gonna let some of this shit ride. I got overdraft protection. Let's go, baby. So I go, I go over there. You know, what's the worst scam? I have to start getting the payday loan scam or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So I go over there and I played at this table for probably like, I don't know, probably like 45 minutes to an hour. I was there for a while, but I started with $100 and I was kind of up and down. Uh, and then I lost, they switched dealers and I lost all my money like within like 3 hands. And I was like, fuck this. So I switched tables and I go over to this other one and I start winning. And then like the table's winning. I'm playing third base, by the way, which is like the last person before the dealer. Obviously, you probably, you know all this, but like, so I'm the last guy before the dealer. And it's like, I got to decide whether or not I'm going to hit on any of mine because I want the dealer to bust every fucking hand. Right. And, you know, if I do this correctly, we're good. So I'm getting ready. Like I start winning. My cousin was like, come on, let's go. Want to get out of here. And I was like, all right, hold on though. Cause like things were starting to change and the electricity in the place was, you could feel it.
Yeah.
So start gambling. Now I'm up like a couple $100 because I had the same thing. I had $5 chips and I had like a stack of them for $100 or whatever. I had taken $200 out. So I got a little stack of chips and, there's 20 chips or whatever, so 2 stacks to 10. And at first it was just like $10 a hand or whatever. And then when I started winning, like, so I got a blackjack, and I'm like, man, I think I better start getting out of here. So now I got a little bit more money, but everybody's like feeling like the table is juiced. So I'm not trying to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna bet a bunch. So I get 8-3, which is a perfect hand. May not be in poker, but in blackjack, it's great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fucking double down. So I double, and they give me like a 4. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Dealer bust. So then I'm like, okay, that was a little crazy. I think I need to, like, I'm going to go. And they asked me, because I'm starting to stick. Now I have a couple $100 chips and a whole bunch of $5 chips. And I'm like, I need to start sticking the shit in my pocket and go. And the dealer's like, are you in on this one? And I'm like, yep. So I put down another stack, and it was like $100 or whatever. And it was fucking, I think it was both tens. And I split them. And I'm third base. I should not be doing all this shit, but I didn't really care. So I split them, and I get like a fucking 2 and a 3, like a 2 and a 5 or whatever. It wasn't good. Again, dealer bust. I went both of them. I have even more money, because now I've won a couple $100 in the last 2 hands. So then I left everything I just won on that second one. So $200 or no, $400. I put all that on that last one. The stack is this fucking big. And my pocket is now full of chips.
Hell yeah.
My brother and my cousin come over there right when all this shit is happening. And these people are watching me put my chips in my pocket. They're like, no, don't go. Don't go. I'm like, fuck you. I'm out of here. So I bet one more time, and I got blackjack again. And I was like, I'm done. And they're like, no. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, fuck you. I'm leaving. And I left. I went over there, and it was, I think I won, like $1,500 or $1,600. And they're like, let's go party. And I was like, this is my rent money and the gas go back, and
yeah, right.
Taco money. But I'll tell you what, we can party a little bit. All right. We can drink some more.
Yeah, after I got back out the wildfires, we were making like $700 a day.
Yeah, per diem, baby.
Fucking tax free and shit. It was awesome. And I came back, and we went to Thunder Valley, and my grandma loves to go to Thunder Valley, and I had just been with her right before I left, and so we went out there, and I saw her sit at this one slot machine and just hit and hit and hit, and I was like, I'm coming back and I'm gonna sit at that machine. I was like, she probably got all the luck off, but it's worth a shot. I sat down this machine, and then like within 3 minutes, dude, I hit a $400-$500 jackpot.
Hell yeah!
And I was like, it's fucking on.
Yep.
And then at 3 a.m, I left like $700 down, and I was like, this is why I need to come here with friends. Alyssa was asleep on my shoulder as I'm sitting at the card table, dude. Like, she was almost racked out. She was ready to go so bad.
Dude, I used to, so when I was stationed at Fort Hood, I would drive down either through Houston to Louisiana, or like on the bottom down there to whatever's right on the other side of Port Arthur, Lake Charles, or I would go to Baton Rouge and up top. And it was
gambled in Shreveport.
Or Shreveport. I'm sorry. Yeah, Shreveport. Yeah.
Shreveport's legit. It's like the Reno of the South, dude.
It was, because it's the boats, right? So they're on it's like river boats. You go on there. The boat's docked. It ain't going nowhere. It's like a hotel now. Yeah. It was so much fun. But I lost $500 in 40 minutes or something like that. My brother's like, what are you doing? And I was like, let me get $200. He's like, fuck no. It's like, fine. Let's go. There's a Carl's Jr. in Dallas. Let's stop there, because they didn't have, they got Hardee's. They didn't have Carl's Jr. And I needed a double Western bacon cheeseburger. They gave me all the free drinks I could get in 40 minutes, but I spent $500 and I was not happy. And it was $6 fucking ATM fee each time.
All right, dude. So I couldn't find this video, so I just uploaded it to YouTube real quick.
Perfect. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Watch this shit. It's only 2 minutes.
Everybody shut the fuck up and let's let Joe explain the situation.
All right, hammer. A little 40-60 flop action here in Omaha. We're all in, Ryan and I.
We're playing Omaha.
Very sad. Recorded
all in.
Jacob's just donated an extra couple chips. Oh,
so let's set the scene here. So this is my hand.
Floppy Ryan.
Ryan's going to be looking to play the 8 and the 10.
Yes.
Floppy Ryan.
I'm looking to play the 5.
Ain't gonna happen.
2 clubs on
And
the
then
board.
here's the flop.
Ain't gonna happen.
And
It
here's
ain't
the
gonna
fucking
happen.
pot.
Let's go. Here, hold.
All right.
Let me hold it and you put that fucking river out there.
What are we're working on blue cards? It's your deal, Ryan.
Go, Ryan. Did you burn? Make sure you burn.
Shut up, dude. You got to hit Ryan.
Look, he's going. He went hoodie. You should cover it all the way down like that.
Makes you look right.
It's how the kids are doing it.
All right, Big Joe.
Burn it.
Burn turn.
It's all love.
Good luck. Good luck, buddy.
It's all love. Good luck to you too.
Good luck.
5, both of you.
Good luck, but I hope you fuck back.
Let's go. All right, he's got one out.
Yeah.
One
One
out.
out.
It's got to be
A
a.
jack of clubs.
Gotta
We'll
have
give
the
him a
jack
straight
of clubs.
You got full house.
So that the board.
But it's the jack of
One
clubs is
out.
still out there.
One out in the entire day.
Let me see it. Please let me see it. Please let me see it.
Oh my god!
Dude, I freaked the fuck out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
That's the best.
I just loved it how they like Jacob, my buddy Jacob's like, never gonna fucking happen. And then Joe's like, he's got one out in the whole deck, jack of clubs. And
Boom, Jack
that
of
was
clubs. And it was your deal.
that was the river, dude.
That's awesome.
It was
And
amazing.
listen, that's where dreams can be made or
Yeah.
where they fade. And the excitement of watching all that shit when when I was younger, it made me. This is like same thing with UFC when they both of them blew up around the same time.
Yeah.
And it was like Rich Franklin's gonna come out with a black eye and pink shorts and he's gonna fuck someone up tonight, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yep.
And
Remember Phil Hellmuth?
Yeah, you kidding me?
Hellmuth?
Yeah, Hellmuth. Mhm.
That dude was a motherfucker on a poker table.
There are so many guys from back in the like Daniel Negreanu. Like there's so many people who are just unreal card players that could do exactly what you're talking about. They can tell you what your hand is, and it doesn't even matter. Like they don't even care what their cards are. They don't even need to look.
Yeah.
They'll just play you based on you and what you're doing. And those guys they're scary, man.
I know that they call him like the king of misogyny, but Dan Bilzerian, listening to him talk about poker
Yeah,
is like one of my favorite things, dude.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I think he's been on a couple Rogan podcasts now, but
Yeah.
long and short of it is I believe that he inherited quite a bit of money from his dad or something and
Trust fund, baby.
worked that into like a $50 million net worth playing poker. And
Oh, that's how he
has sent. Oh yeah, that's how he got his money. He was a poker player.
I think I do remember.
Yeah, I mean he's made tenfold that since.
Well, now he sells pot and
Yeah,
sex and
yeah.
all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how that guy gets anything done.
Does he get anything done other than like somebody does? Somebody's counting the chips for him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, really excited about the poker tournament. I hope we see some crazy ass hands like that.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
I take that back. I went and played at the Danny Oliver. They have a poker tournament, and that's kind of what got some of this started because his partner, Scott, super good dude, talked to Scott Brown, and he put me in touch with these folks, and so now we're gonna get it going.
Hell yeah.
And then the golf tournaments are after that. I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the golf tournament, man. Have we settled on a course yet? Is it gonna be at Searview?
It's gonna be at Searview.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great course.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I love playing there.
I'm gonna go play tomorrow just to make sure it's good.
Yeah. Just to make sure. Check on it.
I didn't win last year. Mike Nichols won a cheating motherfucker. Love you, Mike.
We had hella fun axe throwing the other night for Sonny's birthday.
Yeah, man.
That
I
was a
love
good
axe
time.
throwing.
I'd never done it before. So one of my other favorite, like, I guess my favorite bar game is probably darts. I'm pretty good at darts. And so we went and threw axes and that kind of scratches that itch. And so 2 days later, we went out and threw some more darts. And my right arm is actually sore from throwing darts. That's how many darts we threw that day. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Kinetic Ink Tattoo Company. If you're looking to get a tattoo or piercing in the Folsom area, you have to check out Kinetic Ink. You'll realize that this is not your ordinary shop the second you walk through the door. Kinetic Inc. is built to bring together the veteran and first responder communities in a place where they can connect with one another, share their stories, and get tattooed by world-class artists. What I love most about Kinetic is that a percentage of every tattoo is donated to Warfighter Overwatch to help vets and first responders when they need it most. The sense of community and camaraderie they've built is unlike any shop I've been in. Go check them out. They're located in Folsom at 47 Natoma Street, right across the street from City Hall. Mention the Patriotic Podcast and get 15% off Kinetic Inc. merchandise. Shout out to Kinetic for sponsoring the pod. Now back to our episode.
What kind of weirdo spells O'Neal with an I? I don't know. Hold on. I gotta watch it again. Okay, first off, Eye of the Tiger's going. Oh no. Go back. Run it back. All right. Watch. Cause see, look, the only reason a guy throws an axe, we think it's so awesome, is for a couple reasons. I want to make sure I can canoe a motherfucker's head. And if I'd have lived in the 1850s and a grizzly was coming at me, could I survive potentially? And that says yes. Now, can you do it again is the question, and on demand in a high intensity situation. The answer then is probably no, but I did it then to Eye of the Tiger, so it doesn't get more badass than that.
Why is it so much easier to throw an axe than a knife? I can stick an axe in a tree like 9 out of 10 times, but trying to throw a knife the same way?
Practice.
I mean, I guess I probably don't have throwing knives either.
Yeah,
that probably has something to do with it.
And the balance of the knife for those throwing knives, that should all matter. It does matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just take a fucking your little Daniel Boone knife and chuck
Stick
that shit
in a
just,
tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of golf and this tournament coming up, have you gotten into full swing yet?
Oh yeah.
So, a couple things.
Mhm.
I think the first episode of Full Swing was one of probably the best. That should have been the last episode. The one with JT and Jordan Spieth. Like, I felt that they kind of blew their wad early, but the rest of don't get me wrong, I was on the edge of my seat for the rest of that whole series, but like
watching them grow up though was kind of cool.
It was really cool.
I didn't know that they'd played together that young.
Well, so I'd seen that one picture where they're both hanging on the side of like they're in the gallery watching as young kids, and I knew that they competed in high school and figured they did in college, but I guess I didn't know how close they were.
Yeah.
I thought that they were like just old rivals.
No.
They're like
besties, dude.
Well, they're in each other's wedding and shit.
Yeah, he's the best man. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Super cool. I loved that episode, and Alyssa watched it, and she ended up watching the whole. She came out one morning and she was like, "Oh God, you're watching golf?" I was like, "It's actually a documentary, and you should check it out. Like, I think you'll like it." And by the end of it, she's like, "Can we go home and watch Full Swing? Like, we only have 3 more episodes left." And
hell yeah, baby.
So there were a couple. I mean, like, first of all, I'm really glad they did that series. I would have liked to see more footage like in other events, because I feel like they stuck mostly on the majors, which I get, but like a lot of the storylines like kind of bled in together, and you saw some of the same footage and stuff. So I'm hoping that the second season they will just have more access and we'll be able to do, which I think they will with everything that LIV is doing. Like I mean, like they are outright changing the PGA.
I was gonna say, you saw they're changing
right,
the
so,
tournaments and how many and cuts and all that.
What was even crazier to me is that the PGA is taking the hard line, like humanitarian argument.
Yeah.
That and it's funny
Saudis
because,
are
well, it's funny because they always reference Jamal Khashoggi, which very egregious thing that the Saudis did when they did that. I mean, like, you just can't fucking do that in 2020, whatever it was. But
I don't think they care now.
Well, I don't
give a fuck. They would do it again right now.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
But what is even funnier to me is while we were watching the Full Swing documentary, I wanted to see, because first of all, Joel Dahman is a man after my own heart. Like, that guy.
How do you not love that dude?
That guy. How do you not love him? One. And two, I identify with his lack of confidence, because he's one of the best. He's ranked number 98. He's one of the top 100 golfers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to win this tournament, dude. Like, dude, I'm a fucking mediocre golfer. And it's like, I totally you can tell that he suffers from imposter syndrome, and I like damn Joe Rogan for teaching me what that was, because before I knew what imposter syndrome was, I didn't really have any sense of myself like being afflicted by it.
Yeah.
But I am often. And so like now that I know about it, so I feel like I picked that up from him right away. But anyway, that was a great episode. But
Bro,
I was looking up his world ranking of golf figures or
Joel's?
number. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I wanted to see, he was like 113 in his first appearance, and I wanted to see if where he's at now.
Yeah.
He's at 98 now, so he is improving. Good for him. And but when I was scrolling down to the bottom of the list, they had this big, like 3-column box full of all the logos of the golf leagues that are included in this
Oh yeah, yeah.
count. So it's like you have the PGA is one of them. You have
European Tour.
right,
Yeah,
all this shit. So I'm scrolling around, and this one catches my eye because it's an exact copy of the PGA logo.
Mhm.
But instead of where it says PGA, because you know how like baseball, basketball, and golf have that logo that where like one of them is the dude that they want to replace with Kobe Bryant for the NBA, and it's like one
Jerry-
color on one side, one color on another side. Jerry West. Yeah. But it's the silhouette, and then baseball has the one of the guy like that. Well, PGA has their golf
The
one, and
golfer.
underneath it says PGA.
Yeah.
But there was an identical one that said China underneath it, and it's PGA China. So I was like, these hypocritical motherfuckers are going to raise hell over human rights.
By the Saudis.
By the Saudis. Meanwhile, they have PGA China that is its own standalone league, and they're killing Uyghur Muslims by the thousand.
Yeah.
And that gets a pass.
We could go back in history forever.
100 times we could do it. And like it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny too, because like they just changed. So we all thought that it was like the PGA got kind of shit on when they upped the purses. It's like, oh, you folded, you upped the purse. Now
Yeah. No
there
cuts.
Yeah, there are these. Well, so they're like elevated
Smaller
events,
fi-
I think they
That's
call
right.
them.
Yep.
So it's no cuts, smaller
Smaller
field.
field. Yep.
And
It's like 156 now or 100, depend 100 whatever.
then they say it was going to be like 70.
Yeah, 80 something in there.
Yeah, something like that. And Rory, who I actually like Rory McIlroy. He's for a Euro. I like Rory. And he, along with Tiger, have kind of taken this position in the PGA as like almost a player liaison, where they are expressing to the PGA and their leadership what the players want and how they can compete better. So like you have the player impact fund or whatever, right?
Yep.
What's it called?
Something like that.
PIF or PIP or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Player impact.
Purse? I don't know what the fuck that is. But
Yeah.
anyway, like it's like the golf equivalent of the Time Person of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Who made the biggest impact on the game of golf this year?
Yep.
And they get a prize. And so now you are being incentivized to be a social media personality, which is not like a thing in the PGA, really. It's always been kind of a gentleman's club. Now they're like, I almost wonder if they're gonna raise hell about hoodies now. Because remember, there were like all the hoodies and jogger talk.
Yeah.
Where like you can't wear those. But now you have,
because what's his name won with the joggers,
Yeah.
right? It was like Kirk. Is that who's wearing? No, I don't
Yeah.
even remember who it was. One of the guys was wearing, the joggers. But whatever, man. I don't give a fuck what they wear. I don't care about the hoodies. I don't care about none of that. Like
the old guard golf just has to chill out, dude. They have to understand that the game is changing, and that and like honestly, I wish the PGA would just be like, we're not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking not a nonprofit, dude. The fact that they operate as a nonprofit is so insane to me.
Yeah.
But I think that they're kind of like the writing's kind of finally on the wall. They're like, yeah, we do need to change some things in regards to we need to incentivize our sponsors better. I mean, like, that's really what Rory was talking about. He's like, look, if MasterCard is going to pay $20 million to be a presenting sponsor of this tournament, they want fucking Tiger Woods there on Sunday.
Yeah.
They don't want him going home on Friday night.
So, okay. Let's say the PGA is like,
But there's only 14 of these events, so we need to make that distinction because
right, the
so
elevated ones.
there's they are as a tour pro, you are required to keep your PGA card. You are required to play 15 rounds in a season. I believe there are 45 tournaments, right?
Yeah.
I think it's something like that, like
Yep.
45 tournaments. So you have to play in about 1/3 of tournaments. This will hugely benefit the stars of the PGA because they are now playing in 14, like as long as they're playing well,
Yeah, because
they can play in 14 no-cut tournaments and then one like other one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you know that like the waste management is going to be one of them. I think it's going to be good.
That's what like Max Homa talked about. He's like, on like the majors, obviously they're a little different, but he's like, listen, dude, you're talking about like he's like, all right, so pick your tournament. I forgot what he said, which one he picked, but he was like, all right, so TPC Sawgrass, and you're talking on on a Sunday or like even a Friday, right? Let's say the most people are going to come on Friday. All right, before the cut. Cool. You're talking like 20,000 people spread out over the whole grounds. There's going to be 250,000 people here on Thursday waiting to go for the waste management.
Dude, waste management.
Whole nother ball game.
This year, they had the waste management, the Super Bowl, and a NASCAR event.
All in the same weekend.
In the same city.
Could you imagine how many like drunk tank? They're just like, fuck it, let them go.
Yeah, just
drop
let
them
them
off.
fucking go.
Fuck it.
We don't have the facilities.
All right, real quick. So let's say the PGA feels some backlash from public or player scrutiny, like, hey, you're talking about the Saudis. All right, they're pieces of shit, but so's China. You're letting them use your logo and all this trademark shit. Okay. Well, I just heard that the intelligence community is saying that COVID potentially came from some research facility that does gain of function testing in a place called what's the name of it?
Yeah, dude. It's the same place that got you fucking banned off Twitter 2 years ago for even postulating that could have been a thing.
Xenophobia.
If you even said gain of function, like hashtag gain of function research on Twitter, you were banned.
You had to go. You know how many people Googled fucking xenophobia? It was fucking. Everybody's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Turns out that's really where it came from. And Fauci was, he's in charge of the people giving him money to do this research. Sweet.
I don't know enough about this whole thing to understand whether or not Fauci is like
evil or just dumb or any of it.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I guess I don't understand why, because, the argument the last couple of years has been like they want to gain more control and they use this as a catalyst to do so. Yeah. But who are they and why do they want control? Meanwhile, we have.
It's an easy answer for me, by the way.
Well, I mean, I suppose it is for me too, but I guess I just have, I don't know, I just listened to the Eric Weinstein episode of Joe Rogan, and he talks about this concept that I don't think he said these words exactly, but the way that I understand it is that we have, and Trump is a master at this, as are most politicians, he's weaponized ambiguity. And so let me explain this a little bit more because Eric Weinstein does a good job of explaining it. I'm not going to try to adapt it into something else. I'm just going to say what he said.
Yeah.
So by not telling us, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about COVID, January 6th, UFOs, doesn't matter what it is. By not telling us what the fuck is going on, our government is perpetuating the misinformation problem. So it's funny that they are saying we need to censor, we need to do all these things to limit misinformation when in reality, if they just told us what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
we wouldn't have those things. But we're beyond that now, because now if they tell us what we want to hear, we're not going to trust them because they've fucked this pig.
They already took away the Mexican pizza. We didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden, once they
gave us back this bullshit,
right? You know, they distracted me with some dogs pooping on a bed, and you know, like I like this actor guy. Who's this chick? Why is she shitting on the bed and blaming the dogs? Thanks, Johnny Depp. The Jeffrey Epstein flight logs get released. They're redacted. They're, you know, they have
Tell
names.
us what is happening.
Yeah. And you're exactly okay. So, you know, we got balloons flying over. They don't shoot them down. They don't even say, oh, we're not sure if they're spy, but even though they did know, comes out later, they did know it was a spy balloon, and they didn't shoot it down until it crossed all the way across the fucking country. Meanwhile, we act like we don't have more spy balloons than they have.
They do, yeah.
So
first of all, like, just a side note, we are the most prolific spies in the world.
Ever.
Make no fucking mistake. Yeah. Like, I think that Britain and China spy on their own citizens more. I think that we're number 3 on that list.
Maybe.
But like
the Patriot Act fucked us.
The Patriot Act is insane. But anyhow, so by not telling us what exactly the government knows, they are inadvertently stoking misinformation. Because let me tell you why. Let's say that I'm flying from, and this is Eric Weinstein's example. So these are not original thoughts by Ryan. So all you fucking YouTube commenters, I'm crediting him now. Anyhow,
pussy.
He explains this as saying, like, let's say I'm flying from New York to LA. You live in LA. I live in New York. And I want you to meet me at my hotel once I land. I'm traveling from New York to LA. And instead of telling you, hey, I land at let's just take flight time out of it for sake of simplicity. I land at 3:00. I'd like to meet you at the hotel then. And that's all the information I give you. I want to meet you at 3:00. So I haven't told you when my flight departs. I haven't told you what hotel I'm staying at. I also haven't told you what car I'm arriving in.
You haven't told me AM or PM either.
I haven't fucking told you shit.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, let's just say that I'm fortunate. There's 1,000 hotels in LA, but let's just say I'm fortunate enough to know that you stay at one of 3 hotels and you typically take one of 3 car services. And I know your time difference from me. So this now gives me an exponential decision tree where I have 3 different variables: time, car, and hotel. And there's no possible way for me, without more information, to meet you where you're going to fucking be. I don't know if you're pulling up in a black Escalade, a white Mercedes, or a red Chevy Bolt. I don't know if you're staying at the Ritz-Carlton, a Motel 8, or whatever.
The Red Roof Inn.
Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about, I want to meet you at 3 my time, your time, or UTC. I have no idea. And so this is easily applied to things like social media. When you release a statement that's heavily redacted or whatever, all you are doing is giving exponential, you are exponentially increasing this decision tree. And so now all of us are looking at all of the different possibilities, and we have to decide what's the truth.
Yeah. Who's the bad guy?
And that's how you wind up with these sects on Twitter of people that support possibility A that are fighting with people that support possibility Z, and everybody in between them is making their own arguments. They're making their own, honestly, I'm not going to say they're making their own arguments. They're making their own ad hominem attacks.
Yeah.
You need to get that?
No.
And it results in us just kind of writing the fucking narrative to fit our own worldview. And I found that really interesting because most of the things that we're fed with a heavy dose of ambiguity are like the most important shit we're dealing with as a nation. And I obviously value national security.
Yeah.
But like, why are we redacting the Epstein flight logs, because that if it affects our national security, we have a lot of fucking work to do as citizens in voting these people out of their fucking posts.
Well, he's hanging
And
out with
we are
presidents.
not getting that information. We are not informed enough to, when these next elections come up, we say, that motherfucker flew to Epstein's Island like 18 times. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want him to represent me. We don't have that info.
Former presidents, Prince of fucking Wales or wherever the fuck Andrews.
Oh,
you know.
yeah. The guy that doesn't sweat.
So like
Fucking
all these
buck-toothed
people.
weirdo.
Well, and like you said, okay, so let's go back real quick. When we talk about our ability to trust our government, hope that they're doing the right thing, most people blindly trust the government. I know that the resentment and like we don't believe that they're doing a good job, but we generally trust like, oh, they told us the truth. Maybe not the whole truth, but they told us the truth. They're full of shit. They lie to us all the time. Yeah. Not only that, but what they're doing is playing very dangerous games with fucking our kids' future, right? And I'll give you an example. When we talk about Nord 2, like the oil stuff that's going on and it got blown up, and that's part of the reason that Europe had so many high prices, and they got fucking crisis going on. But this Pulitzer Prize winner, Mr. Hirsch, so his name's Seymour Hirsch, and he said, like, he reported that U.S. Navy divers operating under a midsummer NATO exercise planning bombs for the CIA, right? So this guy's reporting this now.
We blew up that pipeline.
What the fuck do they think? And when I say they, this administration, because this is under the Biden administration, what do they think is going to be the repercussions of this? Well, I'll tell you. You have the Ukrainian president come here in his sweats, get his billions of dollars, and say, it's going to be your kids fighting this war if you don't give us this money. And, but it was just not that long ago that we're questioning whether or not the Bidens have ties to Ukraine. Now we're giving them $46 billion just in humanitarian and financial aid, not including the...
No, that's what we give Afghanistan. It's way the fuck worse than that.
So Afghanistan, and we spent like $1 trillion in Afghanistan, or $2 trillion, but whatever the fuck it was. But it's the longest war in our history. Now we're already like, listen, I could show you a map right now of all the places where my tax dollars should go, and that map is of the United States of America. Yeah, we're getting ourselves in these proxy wars and allowing ourselves to be the citizens. We're being manipulated, just like you said, by the government, and even worse, they're doing things that are pushing us to fucking war. And meanwhile, it's not the government or our elected officials who go fight that wars. It's our kids.
Yeah. So I saved this because I wanted to read it. I have not read the rest of this article. It was published in September and October of 2014. So for those at home that don't know, that is when Russia began to annex Crimea again.
That's right.
And this is, it's called Why the Ukraine Crisis is the West's Fault, the Liberal Delusions That Provoked Putin.
Yeah.
And it's by a gentleman named John J. Mearsheimer. I know nothing about this guy. I'm not endorsing this guy.
Who's he work for, or who do you write that for?
I don't know what this journal is.
Okay.
I'll find out before we leave. But it's just a quick excerpt. So he says, according to prevailing wisdom in the West, the Ukraine crisis can be blamed almost entirely on Russian aggression. Russian President Vladimir Putin, the argument goes, annexed Crimea out of a long-standing desire to resuscitate the Soviet Empire, and he may eventually go after the rest of Ukraine as well as other countries in Eastern Europe. In this view, the ouster of Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych in February 2014 merely provided a pretext for Putin's decision to order Russian forces to seize part of Ukraine. But this account is wrong. The United States and its allies share most of the responsibility for the crisis. The taproot of the trouble is NATO enlargement, the central enlargement of a larger strategy to move Ukraine out of Russia's orbit and integrate it into the West. At the same time, the EU's expansion eastward and the West's backing of the pro-democracy movement in Ukraine, beginning with the Orange Revolution in 2004, were critical elements too. Since the mid-1990s, Russian leaders have adamantly opposed NATO enlargement, and in recent years have made it clear that they would not stand by while their strategically important neighbor turned into a Western bastion. For Putin, the illegal overthrow of Ukraine's democratically elected pro-Russian president. I'm going to repeat that. The illegal overthrow of Ukraine's democratically elected and pro-Russian president, which he rightly labeled a coup, was the final straw. He responded by taking Crimea, a peninsula he feared would host a NATO naval base, and working to destabilize Ukraine until it abandoned its efforts to join the West. Putin's pushback should have come at no surprise. After all, the West has been moving into Russia's backyard. I can't disagree with anything he said.
We would never do that, bro. Oh, wait, hold on. We're putting a fucking 5,000 Marines in Guam, and they're putting a new base so we can go fuck around in Taiwan.
That's what I'm
they
saying.
know. You know why they're doing that? Because they fucking know that we have not only pissed off Russia, but we've pissed off China. Fuck them both. I'm not opposed, but like, here's the thing. I don't really give a fuck what Russia does because they don't really interfere with what we're doing, right? They're not at our doorstep trying to stuff. But China actively fucking does all kinds of horrible shit to not only their own people, but here, whether it's spying on our folks, which again, we are the biggest spiers. I get it. Biggest spying country there is. But I think that we have allowed China too much leniency and bandwidth to do some of the shit they've done. If we're supposed to be sticking our nose in everyone's business and telling them what to do, we sure as fuck ain't doing it in the places that it seems to matter.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. Like, I learned a financial concept during Series 6 training. So Series 6, you have to have, if you were selling any sort of financial vehicle like options, stocks, shit like that. Basically, you used to have to get a Series 6 to be a stockbroker before.
Boiler room, baby.
Right. Before apps came about. Now you need your Series 6 if you want to sell various insurance policies, investment products, so on and so forth. So I was getting my Series 6, and a portion of that was about the Chinese American debt loop, which is an interesting concept. And I encourage anybody listening to this to read about it, because if you go, like, Investopedia is a good start.
Yeah.
That's like Wikipedia for investment, concepts. But the Chinese American debt loop is really interesting because the interest that we pay on our debt alone is what props up China's economy.
Right.
I'm not even talking import exports.
Right.
I'm talking pure
Just
interest on debt.
Yeah.
That's it. So that props up their economy entirely. And so we are now, and then of course, our imports from them prop up a good portion of our economy and a good portion of our consumer spending as well. Discretionary consumer spending, all that stuff. If we were to enter a war with China, we would be almost mutually assured destruction, like nonviolent destruction. Like, our countries would both just starve to death.
Yeah. So,
and if we paid off China's debt, they'd be fucked too. So it's like, people wonder why we carry so much debt. It has to be this way. And so it's like, we've dug ourselves into this hole. And so now when you have a situation where China's considering arming Russia, because we are arming the fuck out of the Ukraine along with a lot of our other allies.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting into a place right now where, and I hate to keep bringing this back to Eric Weinstein, but I mean, like, he's legitimately worried about thermonuclear war.
He should be.
And he is
These fucking psychos, narcissistic motherfuckers in charge are out here doing all this backdoor bullshit, knowing they're pissing each other off until what? Until we get into the fucking hunt for Red October shit.
They don't have to enter the fight, dude.
Exactly.
They sit there and they command troops and they do all that shit. They
don't spill blood.
No.
They don't sweat.
Their kids don't go to the fucking war.
No. And you know, as someone who, I love my country. I believe as Mark Twain said, love your country all the time and your politicians when they deserve it. Listen, we as a country, we have got to vote these people out after one term. There is absolutely no reason to keep people here for a career when that's not how it was intended. And not only that, but they've now perverted our system, and we're the ones continuing to get screwed over and over by our Congress, by our government, by the laws that they implement, which affect American families while they give away our tax dollars to these other countries. And again, fuel these proxy wars. Fuck that shit.
Dude, have you seen Marjorie Taylor Greene's call for a national divorce? Talking about red and blue states.
No.
She's literally, we have an active congresswoman. We have an active congresswoman that is calling for secession on Twitter.
But she's special. Why do we vote for people like, and then again, not vote them out after first term? You're done. Like
I don't know if she's been up for re-election yet, because there was that there was a time where she was being like, someone had to make a decision if she was eligible for re-election again, because they think that she's the person in that video carrying that pipe bomb or whatever. They're
from January 6th.
Yeah, they literally think it's her. There's people that think it's her. I don't know, but like, when you're calling for a national divorce as a
sitting member
of Congress, like
that's where we're at, bro. But
that
listen,
rhetoric alone, like that to me is not protected speech under the First Amendment.
So I saw this thing from one of the sharks, from Shark Tank or whatever, and he said, so he's from Quebec, and I can't remember his name right now. He's old white guy. He's kind of bald, and he lives in Boston. He's lived in Boston forever, and he said, there's no reason for me to stay in Massachusetts. Like all of the places that were once known for great economies, great places to live, they're anti-entrepreneur business owner. He's like, California, New York used to be the main two that were starting to cause problems. But now you have Massachusetts and you have Illinois and Chicago, like places, say people are flocking to Texas and Georgia and Florida because they're entrepreneur friendly, they're tax friendly as far as like you owning your own business and things like that. But then you have like AOC telling Amazon, don't put your fucking business here. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to do all this and that. And so they're like, yeah, cool. We'll move over to, where do they fucking go? Georgia or some shit. Like this is what you, or no, Virginia. And like, so you're screwing over the people in your district who could have gotten jobs from that. And she's like, oh, they're bad paying jobs or they're this and that. And I'm thinking,
didn't you run on being a waitress or a bartender?
I thought you wanted jobs for people like, and I'm not saying that every job is perfect, but listen, if you don't like your job, then you get a different one. But as someone whose job is supposed to be listening to the will of the people and helping them, when you have unemployment and homelessness as major issues, and New York has those things, you got to do whatever you can to combat those. And that means you got to have some sort of affordable housing stuff, and you got to have, jobs for them to be able to afford to live. And if you're fighting those things tooth and nail, how in the fuck are you helping your people?
Yeah, man.
And it's not
I think it's funny that she wore that Met Gala dress. It said tax the rich while she's collecting $250,000 as a congresswoman, and then probably a lot of other money and other little like under the table deals and shit.
The new Green Deal, and they're flying around in jets.
Oh
like,
my
well,
God, bro.
like, and if like people are like, well, that's what you have to do to get around. No, you don't. You have a choice. You have a choice. And you're saying that we're so bad if we use these things, like same thing. Okay. I'm going to give you a fucking perfect example. So they're going to outlaw combustible engines here. You're going to have an electrical vehicle.
2030, dude.
Okay. So I went to Miami. I rented a car. They gave me an electrical car. My first thought was, why? But didn't really get a choice. That's what they gave me. So we took off. They want you to bring it back above 70% or some shit charged. They don't give you a charger. And I'm staying at a hotel, which also does not have a charger. How long does it take to charge these things? Good question. They have a place nearby where I was at where I could go charge it. So I took it over there. 8 hours. I had to leave my car there, take an Uber back to my fucking hotel because it wasn't fucking down the street, right? It was like fucking 4.5 miles away. So I leave it there, go take my, go do my stuff, hang out, the beach, whatever. Go back that night. I'm going to go out to dinner. So the wife and I take an Uber back to the car thing. And it's not even 100%. It's at fucking like 82%. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's been here all day. So what are you supposed to do if you're trying to take a trip that's more than the 270 miles you have on your thing or whatever, right? And then you're supposed to stop for 8 hours so it can charge. Now, by the way, this was not a Tesla, so I couldn't use the Tesla. And I heard they charge faster or at least give you a good portion of a charge quickly. But does it really?
Superchargers can charge in like a couple hours, I think.
Right. Okay. But still, like, I don't want to stop for a couple when I can go fill up my tank in 3 fucking minutes and be on the road again for another 400 miles.
Well, and then
I don't give a fuck. Give me the gas.
We are experiencing here in NorCal like some pretty severe winter storms.
Yeah.
And last year it snowed where I'm sitting last week it snowed where I'm sitting right now. I walked outside.
Just wild.
It was not fucking hail. I know what hail looks like versus what snow looks like. It was snowing here. And they said, so they closed the pass.
When's the last time you seen it snow here?
I don't know if I was alive yet.
Never ever.
It snowed in Cameron Park when I was a kid in the 90s, and that was wild to me.
Yeah.
But I have never seen it. And I mean, like I was in Kinetic Ink with Sonny, and I was just looking outside the window, and I was like, that hail is falling like really slow.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's snow, dude. He's like, I grew up in fucking Indiana or some shit. Like, that's snow. And so we walked outside, and sure as shit, it was sticking to us.
Yeah.
It was piling up.
They shut down 17 to like Santa Cruz was crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So a couple of days, there were some naysayers in the group text that I was talking to, but then like another hour or two goes by, and they're like, oh shit, this is snow.
It's real snow.
And then it snowed in Berkeley. It snowed in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It snowed in weird fucking places that it just doesn't snow.
LA?
Yeah. And
wild.
And so we have these hardcore winter storm warnings right now. And the Donner Pass, like 50 and 80 were treacherous.
Blizzard, bro. It was a
over
blizzard.
the last weekend.
Yeah.
And like I have a friend that was literally like stayed in a cabin off the side of their fucking road, just like pulled over and was taken in luckily by some people that helped him out.
Yeah.
Good to know that there's still fucking people like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I saw a Caltrans worker that basically was standing post because cars would try and go up this very slight incline. I mean, like 5 degrees max. And if they laid off their gas even a little bit,
sliding right back down.
They would slide right back down. And then there was a pile of cars at the bottom of this fucking hill that had all just crashed into each other. And they were there making sure that people got the fuck out of their cars.
Yeah.
When it was safe.
In there. Yeah.
And got out of there before another car came sliding back into
Right.
them.
Yeah. How scary. Right?
Yeah. And so, but one of the things he said, and I was like, damn, dude, that's pretty wild for like a Caltrans guy to be saying this on live television. But he was like, yeah, man, Teslas are a big deal. They're a big problem up here because they are not accounting for the temperature. They are not accounting for the lack of friction, and they are not accounting for the incline. So he was like, you might have 300 miles. You might think that you can make it to fucking Sparks, Nevada, from the Bay or whatever.
Yeah. Not happening.
You ain't making it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a pretty big fucking deal because you know that like electricity works. It's fluid. It works all off of ambient temperatures and stuff like that. So like you have to be able to account for those things. I'm sure that Tesla computers do a good job of that, but when it's 28 degrees outside, probably not, dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they're having some fucking problems getting over the pass. And so I don't think that we have, even if they were perfect, even if cars, like I just saw yesterday or today on Reddit that the first Hummer battery. The Hummer EV that they released
Yeah.
less than a year ago.
Yeah.
The first battery had to be replaced this week already.
And by the way, that mining for that shit
Oh
is
yeah,
super good
for the
Earth.
lithium and all that shit. Like, yeah, you think that
Well, it's child labor, so it's
you think that cotton was bad, dude? You have no idea. There's another dude on the Rogan podcast that knows. He's very well versed in the lithium and the cobalt mines.
Yeah.
And there's cobalt mines in the Southern Sierras here in California, and I've walked past a couple of them, and they're huge operations. I mean, like
Yeah.
the scale of the hole in the side of the earth is just like hard to even wrap your brain around. And they have basically these spiral cut ditches so that trucks can drive down them.
Yeah.
Have you seen pictures of those?
Yeah.
I mean, they're crazy, dude. It looks like a fucking giant meteor hit the earth.
Journey to the center of the earth, bro.
Yeah, they've just dug out this.
Because they don't listen. This is, again, it's all hypocritical bullshit, right? So this is, we're going to save the earth by using electricity instead of gas and fossil fuels, but we're going to use these minerals from the earth and we're going to dig them out and dredge the shit.
Well, it's like if you're a Tesla owner in Virginia, fuck you. Because when you plug your car into a supercharger, it's literally going to a coal plant that's 100 miles away that is burning the nastiest shit into the environment that you could possibly imagine. So you're plugging your child labor machine into a coal factory. You're not saving the planet, dude. I'm sorry. Like, if you want a Tesla because it goes 0 to 60 in fucking 2 seconds, perfectly okay. If you want a Tesla because you're saving the environment, go fuck yourself.
You're full of shit. I just, at the end of the day, look, I don't give a fuck what you drive or whatever. It's your choice. And that's how it's supposed to be. I think that we've gotten so caught up as a country, as a society, in blaming everyone else or saying that I'm right and you're wrong. And in this case, if you're a Tesla owner, fuck you, you're wrong. No, real shit though. Like, it's so easy to be divisive because this is what was planned. This is what the information they give us creates this division. I know that we're much more alike than we are different. And if we really sit down and have some of these conversations in person, we can be much more civil. But we don't really, as a society, we don't have very many civil discourse conversations. It's much more accusatory. It's
Ad hominem bullshit.
So, yeah, like, and you can name it, dude. Like
I could
all
not
the gaslighting, it's just nonstop.
Well, like I don't think at this point, like, because I'm not immune to it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like
No,
I
we're biased.
really don't think
Based.
at this point I could have an adult conversation with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that, and you know what? She probably feels the same way about me. She probably thinks that I'm like this fucking just asleep at the wheel dumbass that's not clued in to all these insane conspiracy theories. Like she would look at me and be like, "You don't believe in the Jew lasers in space?" And she'd think that I'm fucking crazy. And that's the problem, dude, is that like everybody thinks everybody else is just off their fucking rocker. And in reality, we pretty much all are, because we've been in an echo chamber that like just bounces back your own biases right at you and emboldens you. And honestly, dude, like social media might be the worst fucking thing that ever happened to us, dude. It's like social media and religion. I just wish we could.
I was off social media for one day and it was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's good. The FDA says sugary cereal and white bread are no longer healthy. Where's this shit at? It talked about all these fucking people, Congress folks, who were privy to information. They're all on committees and they all started dropping some Taiwanese stock and everything else because they know fucking shit's about to go down. And, like I'm pretty sure that China just sent some of their jets and other stuff over kind of by Alaska, I think it was. Everybody thinks like Oh, they'll figure it out. They'll work it out. You hope so. You fucking hope so. But when rockets start hitting in fucking middle of the closest major city to you, told you. They're fucking. You think that like we talk about all this shit, whether it's the fucking chicken farms, fucking, whether it's burning down, whether it's the lack of response to train derailment and fucking poison shit in Ohio. The government doesn't give a fuck about the people here, but they're sending all our shit. Just like I just watched this thing, like these folks in I think it was in Chicago trying to go to this homeless shelter, but they said they only have so many beds, and the guy was like 20 something on number 20 something on the list, and they're supposed to have 60 beds. But he got moved way down to number 70 something because illegal immigrants got priority, and he's like, "What? Like, what the fuck are we doing?" Just like I know Lori Lightfoot just got ousted as the mayor there, and she's like, "Oh, our crime's gone down." No, everything's gone up.
She's
70%,
arguably one of the worst mayors of all time.
Yeah, top 3 worst mayors of all time.
Arguably one of the worst.
Yeah,
Came in as a superstar.
Listen.
She literally entered office looking like a normal person, and she now looks like Beetlejuice.
Illinois has had like 3 out of the last like 5 governors go to prison.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised. And Chicago is a shithole. Like the amount of crime has gone up. Property crime. I think fucking stolen vehicles went up over 270%.
Yeah.
You think it's going down? All right.
Dude, I watched this documentary last night about because like you, I'm a true crime addict. But I was watching this true crime doc, and there's these housing projects in Chicago. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of them, but I don't remember the name. But anyhow,
over in the south side somewhere. I bet I know which ones it is.
Abbott Homes in Chicago. So like 3 people get murdered there a month.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well,
it's
Gangster
absurd.
Disciple, strong point there.
But in like 1988 or something, this woman calls the police, and she was like, "There's people trying to come through my wall." Like she was like tweaking out. Like she was also a known like crackhead. This is the late 80s.
Yep.
And the story goes that police came to her house once, knocked on the door, nobody answered. So they're just like, all right, whatever, and left. 2 days later, somebody had called the police and said like, hey, this woman, my neighbor, comes by my house every morning before she, like on her way to work, and every day when she comes back. She hasn't been here in 2 days.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Can we do a welfare check? So Chicago police come out, knock on the door, again, nothing. She had called 911 2 times the night she was murdered, saying that someone was trying to come through her wall, specifically her medicine cabinet. 2 days later, the police come back out there. They're met by security. They go down to the landlord's office. They get the key for the apartment. They try to open it. The lock has been changed. They don't have a key. And they're just like, what the fuck? And so the police are like, well, let's kick down the door. And security was like, don't kick down the door because we could get sued.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So I don't know what led them to finally entering the apartment. But they found
Always
her
in front of the police station.
Yeah, right. But they found her shot 4 times.
Oh.
She'd been dead for like 3 days.
Yeah.
She'd been dead. When they did the math, it was like 20 minutes after her last 911 call.
Yeah.
And they found out that in these projects, there's a pipe chase that goes behind everybody's medicine cabinet, and the medicine cabinet is held on by only 6 nails. So all these like crackhead, like drug dealers and shit, they would use this. Somebody found out because almost all the apartments were in just complete disrepair, like holes in the wall and shit. So someone probably punched a hole in the fucking wall of their bathroom,
found it,
realized that there was a 3-foot space
Yeah.
that they could squirm into. And
Go to
if
the other
you're
apartments.
getting raided by the police,
Oh, you can hide in there.
you're going to hide in there and you're going to escape that way. So I guess it had been like common knowledge that you could basically enter any apartment by punching out the medicine cabinet from in the pipe chase. So they robbed her, like shot and killed her. And those apartments still stand today. And there's still like, there was 3 people a week getting killed in the 80s. There's probably 10 a week now. And it's just wild to know that here in America, we are sending tens of billions, if not more, to other countries while simultaneously provoking a country that is willing to use thermonuclear weapons. They are willing to use thermonuclear weapons. There's zero doubt in my mind that Putin would push that button. And instead of unfucking what we've got going on here, we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars over there. And this just doesn't make sense to me, especially when I've read, again, fucking Eric Weinstein, fuck you. He has the unique experience of being it's like a Asha something Nari Jew. Asha Kanari, or I don't know how to say it. But he was born and raised in a region, and he was like, it's because Joe asked him his thoughts on the Ukraine. They got right into this. And he was like, it's always interesting when somebody of my heritage is asked where they're from. Because since I've been born, my hometown has been part of like 6 countries. It's been like Belarus. It's been, it's been all these other countries, like some of which don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so he was like, we are looking at this situation through a very Western lens, in that our borders are very rigid.
Yeah.
The borders in my region where I was born and raised are so fluid that it changes hands like every couple fucking years. And it has been this way since Poland joined NATO in 93. So and we obviously know that there have been proxy wars funded and fought for the CIA since the 70s.
Contra, you name it, dude. We're in everybody's business.
We've been in everybody's fucking business, dude. And our government won't fucking tell us about it.
No.
And we sound fucking crazy. Yeah, and we sound fucking crazy for saying here we are on the Patriotic Podcast saying that the USA meddles in too much shit.
Yeah.
Well, hate to say it, fellow patriots, the US meddles in too much shit. We need to fucking dial it back 10 to 25%. Like now.
It's gonna spill over into our country in ways that we haven't seen before. I believe that. Listen, my daddy was a gunfighter. My granddaddy was a gunfighter. Great granddaddy was good. They all went to war. What I do know is I don't want my kids fighting in some bullshit wars for these fucking politicians. But what I also know is, just like we posted on the fucking social media, if these countries fuck with us, someone else is going to raise their kids. Because if you come to our land, there is a lot of patriots out there who do stock ammo and make sure that, while the government is trying to take away all the weapons and ammo in the world, the truth is that those are the biggest deterrents for people invading our fucking country when we do too much meddling. As Americans, I hope we get our shit together. I hope we put pressure on our politicians to do the right thing and vote the right way and look after our best interests. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to us. And I hope you guys are out there preparing, training. There's plenty of places to do it. In fact, if you guys want to reach out to the Patriotic Podcast, wherever you're at in the United States, if you're looking for good places to train, hit us up. I got lots of friends who run different organizations who are well trained and versed in not just like military or law enforcement operations, but in what would be life-saving urban situations or just protecting your family, so that if you guys get into a bad scenario, you can see your way. Shoot.
I'm gonna come over the top of this and say, don't you fucking dare hit us up if you're not also gonna vote.
Oh yeah, that's like, listen,
that's fucking step one.
I love that they give us.
Don't start preparing for a war if you're not going to vote.
I voted in Chinese. I voted in Spanish. Have you seen all this shit?
Yeah.
Well, I only vote in English, so I don't know how that works. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of problems in our country and a lot of work to do. But it's up to us. I'm not going to try to pass the buck, and I'm not just going to sit here and bitch about it, which is why we're going to keep doing the work and bringing up the issues that matter. talking about this stuff and trying to figure out who we need to put pressure on or where we need to put our energy so we can fix some of this crap that they're trying to shove down our throats, because they do lie to us and perpetuate the bullshit, stoke the flames. So fuck them.
Yeah, dude. And this isn't even like a political thing. It's more or less a class thing, because all of a sudden our politicians are in a class above us that like is really hard to access. Like, you shouldn't make $200 million over your career as a politician if you're looking out for the will of your people. You just shouldn't. No, like
Those are California politicians, man.
up
Pelosi,
until now,
Feinstein.
up until now, how many people became like, how many of our founding fathers, I mean, a lot of them were wealthy, I guess.
Because they were the beginning. Those are the guys who helped set up our country. They
Right.
were, some of them were,
But
not
like,
all of them.
they didn't make millions and millions of dollars in politics. Like, they
No,
had,
they had their fucking farm of,
yeah.
tobacco, and they had their, all that
Hey,
shit.
right or wrong, I'm sure a lot of them did some insidious shit. But that said, they actually worked for a fucking living. Whereas like these under the table deals, that's what being a politician is like, it's a club where if you're not going to play along, you're not going to ever fucking make it in. That's why it's hard for me to take anything that AOC says at face value. Because it's like, in how many years is it going to take you to achieve 100 millionaire status?
Listen, if you're a Native American, it's different. But I'll tell you where our country got its start. So you had these people who were trading and had businesses here. Some of the folks were born here, but the European folks, when they came over, yeah. So what they would do was, when you got out of prison in France or in jail, they would try to persuade you to come here. So you get on a boat, and they would bribe, because there were no women, by the way. The guys were getting sick of like whatever it was they were doing.
He's on the Mayflower like, this is a fucking sausage fest, bro.
Pretty much. So what they started doing was either lying or bribing women, mostly hookers, to come over here. We did not start as the best and brightest fucking, folks. There was some really smart folks who were businessmen who were well off, but they wanted women, and there weren't very many here, and the natives weren't fucking with them. So they had to figure something out. And what they figured out was, let's bribe, lie, steal, cheat. Let's figure out some shit to get some girls here, and then we'll go from there. And it turned into a whole lot of wars pretty quick. It didn't take very long for us to beg Tecumseh to not let motherfuckers freeze to death in Valley Forge.
Yep. Well, we're doing the best we can, man.
No, we're not. We can do better.
You and I speak for us.
Oh, okay. We're doing pretty good. And we're going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep hammering. But I tell you what, I fucking hate these politics. Like, since I know that we're the ones who have the power, I really want to drag these motherfuckers out in the middle of, like, let's bring them out into town square, and let's have a talk about your transgressions. We'll let the people decide if what you've been doing is illegal, in that you're using your information while sitting on a committee or subcommittee where you get information from the intelligence community that the rest of the people aren't privy to, and then you go make your purchases or sales of stocks, getting rich, like you said, $200 million over a career, while the rest of the people are eating top ramen.
Just like, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
I would never.
It's fucking so weird, bro. Bunch of creepy people.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna keep sticking up for the little guy. We're gonna keep fighting for him, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Always.
It's a good one.
Love you, dude.
Love you too, man.